Alright, people, thanks for watching the channel and just being a part of this mini movement here. I'm actually starting to pick subscribers up again, or pick up subscribers, and I appreciate that. It had stalled out for a while, and when I started complaining about it, things started to move along. So good, I'm happy. Here's what I need though, because the page isn't really making money. It's and I know people say, well, Dave, I thought you're in this because you love Tulsi, and I do, but I've made this kind of like a full-time gig along with my music channel. Imagine running two of these pages trying to do content that's relevant for both of them and really kind of separating the material out and not having your brain spaz out. So, and it happens to me because I'm not, a spring chicken here. If you can support me over at Patreon, there's a link at the top right of this page. People always say, well, you don't provide the links, and it's actually built into the banner. See Tulsi's nice picture up there, and then off to the right, you'll see the link to Patreon. That is affiliated with my music channel because I set the music channel Patreon up first, but I believe I can only have one Patreon account, so if you see music stuff over there, just know that you're in the right at the right place or whatever. And if you want to donate like $1, $2 a month, between the two pages, I think I have a goal of trying to get $1,000 per month, and that's it's a reasonable income based on what I'm doing, and also based on what YouTube does. Yesterday I posted this video. I had like 800 views in a few minutes, literally. It was very quick. And I had no monetization during that real robust viewing period. So you lose money. I'm not getting thousands and thousands of views, so each view is important to me as far as monetization goes. Now, that's out of the way. You see a picture here of our friend Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore is an inspiration to me because of his passion. I don't always agree with everything he says, but he is anti-war to the core. And here he is basically calling out a CBS, MIC, CIA, Intel op, who is more or less just, he's actually distraught because Donald Trump didn't want to go to war with Iran over a drone that they shot down that we sent over their territory. Now let that sink in for a minute. And this is the problem Tulsi Gabbard has right now. And it's been the problem. This is why Bernie Sanders, by the way, made his campaign about economic issues. Because the American people don't give a flying rat's rear end about foreign policy. They don't. They think foreign policy is handled by someone somewhere high up. As long as, we're safe, these guys, and this is what you hear all the time. Well, the soldiers are going over there to keep us safe. How is that affecting our safety? How is instigating a war with a country that has not attacked us? Okay, literally, there are no ships off of, Florida or South Carolina or Massachusetts that are coming close, that are ready to go and start, launching missiles to the shoreline. There's nobody out there doing anything. They're over in Iran, okay? And you could say, well, they're not minding their own business. We've surrounded them with military bases, literally. All right? If somebody surrounded the United States with military bases, I don't know what country would do that, but see, this is how much of an empire we've become. And people are conditioned to the fact that we're going to go around the world and be the quote-unquote superpower. This is all, I've been hearing this my whole life. Well, we're the world's only superpower. No, we're the world's only warmongering nation that looks for fights to pick so we can elevate the military-industrial complex. and to keep them employed and to keep the money flowing in, and basically to grease a lot of palms in the process here. So I want to play a little snippet here, Jimmy Dore, and this is very illustrative of what I'm talking about here. Jimmy, he's just an awesome commentator. Hopefully I've missed the F-bomb tirade. Again, if you have younger family members and so forth, and this crosses a line, I apologize, but I want people to hear what Jimmy has to say here.
And standing in the region and around the rest of the world.
Let me play that again for you. This is like a comedy bit that I could, if I could write this good, I wouldn't be in my garage.
Back on one of its aircraft.
Administration is going to have to respond to this or lose a lot of credibility and standing in the region and around the rest of the world.
Trump is going to lose credibility in the region and around the world. Trump.
Okay, so what he's alluding to here is that Donald Trump has been vilified by the news media. And I'm not trying to be sympathetic toward Donald Trump at this stage. But you can see why Trump supporters, they're probably thinking, okay, well, again, you've criticized him here for just being Donald Trump and being a Russian asset. Now you want a Russian asset who you've alleged is basically working for Vladimir Putin. You want him to be controlling the military in a way that's very aggressive. Why would you want that if you don't trust Trump and you think he's Putin's puppet? And that's what Jimmy Dore is alluding to here. But the bigger picture here is what this guy said. He said, you're going to lose credibility in the region if you don't take action. And this is the prevailing thought about war, is that you're going to lose credibility if you don't keep instigating and provoking. And we're the ones that flew the drone over. They didn't fly the drone over, Virginia, okay? We flew a drone over or into international waters, and they shot it down. Okay, it was unmanned, so nobody died. We did probably lose a few $1 million on the drone, though, I would imagine. I don't know what the cost of the drone is. But this is the stuff that Tulsi Gabbard is up against, because she's not a conventional candidate. Because she believes, first and foremost, that this activity here, this stuff right here, has got to stop. Okay? Bernie Sanders didn't make that like a cornerstone of his campaign. I mean, Bernie's about Medicare for all. He's about, the student loan debt issue, which, by the way, is fantastic. I'm very thankful that he introduced that. I know Warren did too. But Bernie has the best chance, I think, of upending an establishment candidate. I'll roll this a little bit more. Jimmy's cracking up here because he just can't believe. See, Jimmy Dore sees the inherent contradictions of these people who, for literally years now, they've been tearing down Donald Trump. He's a clown, he's a joke, his administration. But yet, when it comes to war, they're all like saddling up next to Trump and saying, and they call him, President Trump at this point. They typically didn't call him, they just called him Trump or whatever. But now they're giving him like respect. But let me tell you how to do the war, Mr. President. You're naive. You're sitting there thinking, 150 people are going to die. And this guy is saying, so what? Basically, so what? Over a drone, one life isn't worth this drone. I'm sorry, no lives. I mean, just nobody should die. Jimmy's cracking
That's what
himself
that guy's
up.
saying. And now you know how you get to be an admiral in the military. Advocate for war all the time, every day.
Republicans like Senator Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham. Immediately they go over to Lindsey Graham. We are so not used to, as a country, the idea that, you would question something like this. People are too busy. They're on vacation. It's summer. The weather's hot. And people are at the beach or at the pool or they're with, whatever. And nobody wants to talk about drone strikes in Iran. And this is the underlying problem for Tulsi Gabbard, is the country isn't smart enough to understand her foreign policy. I'm just going to say it. They're not paying attention enough to think that war is bad. Now, if you do polls, though, and you ask the right question, typically Americans are tired of this stuff. But then on TV, they get all this gaslighting that, oh no, there's something that's going to happen if we don't go in. There's, our credibility. Our credibility? Well, nothing about how many people are going to die, which Trump, by the way, did something very unique. And I don't know if he actually did it or this was, staged or whatnot, but he actually asked the general, hey, how many people are going to die? And the general, oh, let me get back to you, Mr. President. And they probably gave him they thought the 150 was probably a low number. And that would give them, permission, green light, let's go, let's do it. And Trump heard it and said, no, that's disproportionate. Which is still kind of a weak answer, but at least it gets Trump off the hook and says, you know what, I ran on this idea that we weren't going to bomb the crap out of countries that weren't bothering us. And this is an unmanned drone. And I'm sorry, I know this is a painful thing to say, but Trump made the right decision. Okay, he made the right decision. Look, Tulsi Gabbard, I guess what people want are liberal policies and war. That's what it seems like most progressives want, a robust, warfare state and a strong welfare state. Maybe that's a trade-off. Maybe they think that, okay, or they're just so ill-informed, or they've been alive and it's only been war since they were born. Basically, if you were born in the last 20 years, it's just been war. And typically, honestly, it's been war or secret ops and CIA stuff ongoing, even well before we went to Afghanistan. But I mean, if you wanted to say Afghanistan was like a starting point, and it helps our economy. Let's be frank about this. It helps our economy. And if you're going to do green jobs and green technology and you're going to get us off fossil fuels, you'll never get us off fossil fuels if you are funding the military-industrial complex and you're making it bigger. And this is the problem, because Tulsi Gabbard has, like I say in some of my earlier videos, she's stepped on a third rail. Okay, they used to say the third rail was Social Security and Medicare. The third rail now is really about war. You cannot talk anti-war. You cannot talk people down from the ledge of thinking for themselves about, hey, why are we continually wanting to go to war? We had something going on in Venezuela, we moved right to Iran. By the way, there were a lot of people, including Jimmy Dore, by the way, who said, if we don't get Venezuela, we're going to go after Iran. And I don't know if he remembers, but they really wanted Iran. And they thought Trump wanted Iran. Now, Trump has pulled back. See, what Trump has done here is a little head fake. And this is going to inoculate him a little bit from when the generals just go roughshod and they're going to run right over him. And he's going to say, look, it's not me. They're advising me to do this. These are the people in the know. He can throw them under the bus, but he can still look like the guy who said, I really don't want to do this, because that's probably what's going to happen. And as far as Tulsi Gabbard is concerned, as soon as she talks the whole regime change thing, they gloss over. It's like they're all just saying, here's a naive person who doesn't understand America's role in the world. Like this guy, David Martin, national security correspondent. Let's roll a little bit more of this, and then I'm going to wrap this up.
Cannot be allowed to attack a U.S. aircraft without paying a price. And Secretary of State Pompeo is expected to visit Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates to discuss what the U.S. should do next. Anthony?
Again, we're going to go meet with the murderous Saudi Arabia regime that killed a journalist for the Washington Post.
Yeah, and so this is the whole. And by the way, this is an issue that if a candidate got some traction, they would get votes from both the left and the right. What I would say, the libertarian right and the true left. I'll call it the not fake progressive. I'm realizing though that there are a lot of just progressive lefties that are just more concerned about tearing down other progressive lefties than about the issues that people care about. And this is why, I just want to show you this before I leave. This guy yesterday, I discovered him, thankfully, because somebody was sending a message back and forth. This guy is Daniel Whitfield. He's running for the United States Senate in Arkansas. He looks like a family guy. It looks like a little girl, a little American flag. So he's not afraid of the flag. It's what the flag, you could say, well, the flag represents torture and chaos. And you know what? He loves his country. Okay, it's like Tulsi Gabbard. She loves her country. And look, a picture of the United States Constitution this is how nuts things have become, is that there are some with, I would say, very independent but somewhat very progressive enzymes, okay, who are actually more constitutional as far as their belief system than all the Republicans and all of your garden variety Democrats. And it's true. And he's running as an independent. I mean, this makes my heart happy, all right? I clicked on his website, and I'll do it now. Again, this is a guy who's got a great little video here, and the platform, I roll down and I look at all of his issues, and these are issues that people care about. Medicare for all, relieving student debt, campaign finance reform, thank you, tax enforcement and loophole closure, ending the war on drugs, climate change, all right? No more foreign wars. Look, pro-Second Amendment. Oh no, guns, okay? Look, folks, I told you I was conservative on a few issues, and I don't believe we should ban guns. Yeah, he does talk about very strict gun laws, gun show loopholes. He talks about smart technology, getting the fingerprint, so you're the only one that can operate the firearm. This is what I call common sense, okay? This is, anyway, I won't dwell on that, but it shows that this is a great, like what I would call, not unity, fusion candidate, like I did a video a while ago about Tulsi, rebuilding the VA, okay? But it keeps going. Ending the corruption of privatized prisons. This guy, he's just ticking them off. Tick, tick, tick. I would vote for this guy. If he was running in Florida, I would be out campaigning for him. I would hold signs. Raising teachers' pay. A livable wage. Improving the quality of law enforcement. This makes the police accountable. He doesn't like the whole militarization of the police. Removing party affiliation from ballots. Oh, baby. Better educating voters because they need it. We're finding that out in the theme of this video. Politicians' financial transparency. Loving it. Capping home interest rates. Lowering politicians' salary. Okay? And that's it. Now, what's missing? Wedge issues. There are no wedge issues on this page. There are no tribalist issues. There's no impeach Trump now BS. Okay? It's just, let's talk about what's important to people. And if you had a party, well, let's just say this. If more and more independents, and you could even form some kind of coalition, you don't even have to call it a party, because everybody would have maybe a slightly different platform depending on what state they're in. But the majority of these issues would all be front and center. The first 3 are absolutely off the charts. The first 6 are absolutely off the charts. The first 9 are absolutely, I mean, I just keep saying 12. Okay, so he's got 15, 18. He's got 18 issues. This is what we need. And by the way, Tulsi Gabbard, again, I'm sure she's for all of these issues. I don't know about the Second Amendment thing. I don't know if she's anti-gun. I'm sure she's for more background checks. Here's the rationale, too, is because do you really trust the government that is allying us into war? Yeah, do you trust the government that much that law-abiding citizens should have the ability to protect themselves, and that's what this is all about. He talks about psychiatric evaluations. I've been saying this for years, but those on the right that don't want to even listen to any kind of restrictions, they just flip out and say, "Oh, you're anti-gun." No, I'm common sense. I'm not anti-gun. Shut up. So, in any event, I wanted to mention this guy because he's awesome. Again, his name is Dan Whitfield. He's running Whitfield. Let me say that right. He's running for Senate. And I may even just donate to the guy just to say, hey, dude, yeah, hopefully he sees this video. Send it over to him if you want. Just get the link once the video is up and running. But, yeah, so Jimmy Dore roasts this guy, but this is illustrative of what Tulsi Gabbard is up against. It's a machine. And you got to start, too. Sometimes you can't do it all at once. You got to run Senate candidates. You got to run congressional candidates. And then you build a movement and you run for president. And maybe it's not the Green Party. Maybe it's not the Libertarian Party. Maybe it's because people are more apt to say, yeah, I'm independent. And independent always sounds good to me. It always sounds good. All right, I'm done with this video. Be back soon. See you then.